Welcome to the Download Project video demo. In this video we will download source code from the publisher's website, and we will also import our Chapter 3 project into Eclipse and run that. If you haven't already done so, find your way to our publisher's website at http://manning.com/Abelson, and you'll see our textbook. By the way, if you go to this resource here, and do investigate if you haven't already the blog entries here, or the threaded discussions. Some I think you'll find apropos our assignments. Here's one right here. Restaurant Finder example doesn't work. Find out why that is not working. August 2010. Not too bad. Anyways, some good information there. The source code for our book, hopefully you've already done this. If you haven't, it's here. Just download the zip file somewhere where you can get a hold of it, and make sure that the chapter that you are going to be importing is unzipped. And I'll cancel that because I've already done that. Make sure that you end up with something that looks like this. Android in action. Here's chapter 3 zipped. I unzipped it. When you unzip it, you'll see the actual file structure of the package, the Android package that you'll be importing into Eclipse and running. To import the project into Eclipse, obviously open Eclipse. You can see that I have all my previous packages closed just to save on some resources. What you want to do is File, Import, and it is General. If General is collapsed, just go ahead and expand it. You want to import a general existing projects into Workspace. That way you can examine them. The root directory is going to be that unzipped directory that you just downloaded from the publisher's website and unzipped. So find your way to that. And I just have one unzipped right now, chapter 3. This is the root, Restaurant Finder. So click OK for that. So the projects, it found actually the project in that, this is a good sign, it found the project root Restaurant Finder at this location. So obviously check that, and this might be unchecked, but go ahead and check that, copy projects into Workspace. So my workspace that I've been demoing here in the video demos is called Eclipse Workspace. Yours may be different, but you're going to do that. Copy project into the workspace. Just click Finish, and away you go. Here's Restaurant Finder. Now in my Package Explorer, and spend some time exploring the package. You notice here that we have Java jar, or an Android Java jar that is, or Android 2.1 jar file. So this gives us a hint as to what type of emulator we'll want to set up to run this file. Take a look at the source. You can notice the package names here. Package names, you can leave them alone. If you've gone through the chapter, you'll know what each of these source files is responsible for. If you have created your own project, then you'll need to carefully put these into the right places and change the package references where needed. For instance, in the Android manifest, you'll need to change the package there. You'll get some errors here. Here's our XML. Hidden. I shrunk our workspace to match our video display real estate. So anyway, here's our expand that a little bit. Explore the manifest, and go ahead and explore these other files as well. When you get this project running, it's a good thing to make some changes, just like you did with Chapter 2. Break the project. If it's really broken, you can always start over. Don't be afraid of doing that, but think about critically think about how things are working in this project. So you have this red exclamation, so if you hit run Android application, you might get an error. Your project contains errors. Unable to open class file, no such file or directory. If you have, here's a tip for you. If you see any type of a alarming console notification error here involving R, go ahead and delete the r.java file. Remember, the R, it's a class, and who created the R file? That was one of your assignments for this week. Yes, it is automatically created for you, and because I have build automatically, R was removed and R was created. Okay, and you can see that my exclamation went away. So I'll clear my console notifications. This looks good, no errors. Go ahead and try to run it again. This is actually okay. This is actually running fine. I have it set to run on my Nexus 1 device, so it's running fine there. I'll show you how to run it on an emulator in just a second. To choose where you want to have your projects run, click on Run, and then Run Configurations, and set that to Manual. Target first. I had it set to Automatic, so set it to Manual and Apply. Close that. Now when we run this, it will ask us where to run it. I don't have any emulators, so it's going to be another 5-minute launch period here. And again, remember, when we closely looked at contents of Restaurant Finder, we found the Android 2.1 jar file. So that is a good indication of what emulator we need to run. If you haven't just created an emulator, it should, in theory, run on 2.2, 2.3. It runs on my Nexus 1 device, which is 2.3.4, but in a previous video you watched me blow up Android 2.3. So, if you get an emulator that doesn't work for you, try another one. And welcome to Android's emulator issues. I'm still waiting for our phones from Google, by the way. So I'll launch the 2.1 emulator. And I'm not going to have you sit through the emulator 5-minute emulator launch. Here's a tip while we're waiting for the emulator to load. I chose the H. The HVGA fits pretty nicely on the screen. Okay, this will be a good demo. If you get something like this is just a emulator issue. Force close. You do not want to have these things. Now this is where I got a really strange input last time. Yep, see, you get the Chinese characters, and it's kind of strange, but obviously this is an initialization, so something is not initialized here correctly. So just go to the menu. Go home. And it was this menu. It did exactly what I told it to, but I wanted it to go home and start the app that's called Restaurants. This is a Restaurant Finder app. Start it from here. And if this is done correctly, And start. Hopefully it won't resume with the incorrect initialization. This looks bad too. Oh boy. Alright. This is what happens. This is a buggy little app here. I'm going to pause this and try to figure out a way to get this app running properly. Still doesn't work. Strange though. Everything else looks okay. It's just that keyboard. Unfortunately, there's no Manage Apps widget on the emulator that I know of. I can't just trash that app and reload it. I would hate to reset my emulator again. But as you know from Chapter 3, and having studied the Android life cycle, what we can do is try to overload this with just overload the heap and have our process be killed by the Android stack itself. So let's just poke around here a little bit before we give up. Alright, and that appears to have worked. When I clicked, it should be, hopefully it'll be stable enough. Yeah, I can tell because it gave us, it's just acting a little bit differently. Anyway, let's go to the home screen. Now when I launch this, I didn't intend this, but this was actually a good demonstration of the Android activity lifecycle and how an app's memory space is reclaimed automatically when needed. And this had better work. Yeah, there we go. So Fresno. Oh, look, the Chinese characters are still here. Yeah, it's accepting my input now. Fresno. Wow. Try that. I'm trying the hardware keyboard now. If I can get this one working, we'll call it a day. I'd like to see the Doghouse Grill. Great, there it is. Alright. Yep, nice. We should check this address, make sure that address is accurate. Alright, this concludes the 13-minute demo on what do we do. We visited the publisher's website, and we checked out the threaded discussion. We downloaded or demonstrated where to find the source code. We, most importantly, imported a project, and we did some emulator debugging. This will conclude the 13-minute video on downloading a project.